What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We have a lot of exciting news to go over. First of all, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to New York City tomorrow. I'm going to be there for a couple of days. So we're not going to be in the studio. We're going to be doing very different format of videos, but we have very exciting news to go over with regards to a major investment that institutional investors are about to pour tens of billions of dollars into. This is a potential 100x altcoin, and it's not like clickbait. It's not just saying this is 100x because that's what people like to throw out there. No, this has a legitimate chance of 100xing. It's in a very similar position to what Cardano was in just about a year ago when Cardano's price was around 4 cents per coin. So there's a lot of exciting stuff we're going to go over in today's video. That's going to be the main story. We're also going to talk a little bit about what is going on with adoption, a couple of new exchanges that are expanding globally, very positive news for crypto adoption, and a very shocking announcement from Facebook, which I think again is going to be huge for crypto, and you're definitely not going to want to miss what is coming out from Facebook. Very similar to what just happened with Visa, just to give you a hint. But anyways, if you guys enjoy this sort of content, well then please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's see if we get this video up to 500 likes. And if you want more content, well then make sure to check out our Discord and our Patreon group using the link in the top of the comments. But anyways, let's get right into it. First of all, go over what is going on with the market. So right now, when we're looking at the market has bounced back a little bit after being in the red for the last 24 to 48 hours. And what we're seeing is that Bitcoin had dropped as low as 47,500, but we had seen it bounce back and get back above that $48,000 support that we have formed. In addition to this, in terms of Ethereum is up about 6% for the week. Cardano is still leading the way, up 27% over the last week. And overall, things are looking pretty good, pretty stable in the crypto market. But the big announcement that is the potential 100x altcoin, and why I think this has even more potential than what's already happened recently, is what is going on with Solana. And everyone might be saying, well, Solana's price has already doubled within the last couple of weeks. It can't possibly do this. But first of all, when we look at Solana, it has a $21 billion market cap. In order for it to 100x, it would have to be a $2 trillion market cap, which would put it at almost twice as large as Bitcoin. But this is a long-term play and is definitely possible with what they're trying to accomplish, and if it could ultimately be an Ethereum killer. So let me talk about specifically why, because it's nice to throw out these numbers, but let's talk about specifically why. So Osprey just came out and says that they have readied the first ever, Osprey Funds has readied the first ever private Solana fund for institutional investors. And what this means is that right now, institutions have been increasing the interest and sentiment around Solana in particular. We have seen them start to actually pour a lot of money into Solana-related funds. Last week, we saw that Solana led the way in terms of all cryptos in the inflows and outflows report from CoinShares. Solana saw $7.1 million in inflows from institutional investors. This was more than Cardano. This was more than Ethereum. This was more than Polkadot, more than any other altcoin. Institutional investors were picking Solana. And now what we're seeing is that Osprey Funds has realized this, and they've said, look, we're going to come out with the first ever institutional, we're going to come out with the first ever Solana trust. And they registered this with the U.S. Securities just the other day on Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. At the time of this release, they have not yet had any sales, but it is currently only open to accredited investors, which really just means institutions. This could change. They could eventually open this up to retail investors, which would be huge. But the way that I see this is that last week we saw out of Cardano, out of Ethereum, out of Polkadot, out of Litecoin, out of all the altcoins, institutional investors poured more money into Solana in terms of inflows versus outflows. They chose Solana. In addition to this, we're seeing that now that Osprey Funds is the first ever to come up with a Solana trust. That's a good thing. And okay, institutional interest is great. It can mean hundreds of millions, tens of billions of dollars pouring into Solana. But institutional investors is just one portion of the project. Like, one portion of why this can do extremely well. Yes, they can manipulate the market, they can push the price up, but it's important to see what Solana actually does. And Solana is labeled as an Ethereum killer. It is labeled as a major competitor to Cardano. Currently, it's ranked number 10 in terms of market cap. And a lot of people say that Solana is an Ethereum killer because it's faster than Ethereum, more energy efficient than Ethereum, and it already has projects built on it. So in terms of, let's say, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, I own all of them, but the way that Solana really differentiates itself, first of all, it's labeled as a faster, more energy efficient Ethereum, but if we're comparing it to, let's say, like a Cardano currently doesn't have any projects running on it. It's all in development because smart contracts are set to be released on September 12th, 2021. Once Cardano has smart contracts, then they'll have a lot of new businesses built on the Cardano blockchain. But Solana already has this. Solana has hundreds of projects already built on the Solana network. And this is huge. This could help create a network effect. All you need is one or two of these projects to take off, and that could cause Solana's price to skyrocket even more than it already has. In addition to this, what we're also seeing is that Solana just received a $314 million investment from institutional investors to help accelerate its growth moving forward. So between all of this, between projects already running on it, between it being faster and more energy efficient than Ethereum, and between Osprey funds coming out with the first ever Solana Trust, where institutional investors could get exposure to Solana and retail investors could easily get exposure to Solana. Between all of these things, I think Solana does have a chance to be a major winner still from where it is at right now. Yes, it has gone up in the last week alone over like 70%. We have reached all-time highs. Right now for Solana, we're at $72 per coin, but if we're looking at the big picture, where this potentially could go for 3 to 5 years down the road, it definitely has the potential to beat Ethereum, to beat Cardano, and institutional investors seem to really like it. They are pouring more money into it than any of the other altcoins. We're seeing companies and funds and financial service companies come out with investment products surrounding Solana, and according to Bloomberg analysts as well, they're saying that Solana is looking to be a big favorite among institutional investors. Currently, I own Solana. I've never sold any. I don't plan on selling any of my position anytime soon, but that is really what I'm doing with all of my crypto positions. I have Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and a number of other coins, and I don't plan on selling any of these decentralized finance altcoins or in crypto out there. Another story that is going on with regards to Bitcoin whale accounts is what is going on with regards to whales helping to pump the market back up. We have seen that over the last couple of weeks, whale accounts have been consistently accumulating more and more Bitcoin, and this is very good for the market. Anyone who might be worried or a little bit on the fence right now, all you got to do is look at what's going on with institutional investors. The story from Osprey Funds coming out with a Solana investment product. The recent data that we had from CoinShares with regards to institutional investors starting to put more money into altcoins. All of this shows us that the market is very healthy, in a very good place right now, and we're going to continue to see this progress over the next couple of weeks. Bitcoin whales, though, have continued to accumulate more and more Bitcoin, while they are also starting to invest in coins like Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, and a number of others that we went over in the video the other day. But the interesting thing here is that this report specifically talks about Bitcoin whale accounts with $50 million or more. And thank you, Brandon. We will get to that. We'll get to ETC at the end. Definitely go over that, but I appreciate you, Brandon. And if you guys want me to answer your comments, make sure to throw them in the chat. And I'll make sure to get to them at the end. We'll go over Brandon's first, obviously, but appreciate you, Brandon. But anyways, so right now in terms of whale accounts, sometimes people talk about accounts that own over 100 Bitcoin. They consider those a whale account. Other times people consider over 1,000 Bitcoin a whale account. But in this report from Chainalysis, they said that Bitcoin whale accounts, they determined in this report, they labeled as accounts with over $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So they didn't do it based on a Bitcoin amount. They did it based on a dollar amount. And what they said is that over the last year, since the end of 2020, we have seen that consistently, whenever we're seeing more accumulation take place with crypto, the prices from these whale accounts, whenever we're seeing more accumulation take place, that is when prices are skyrocketing, and the prices are almost directly correlated to what is going on with Bitcoin and crypto whale accounts adding more to their positions. So the interesting thing is here is that right now we are seeing that ever since June, when we were at lows, when Bitcoin was at $28,000 per coin, it dropped maybe even down to $27,900. Ever since then, in June, we have seen that every single week, basically, that institutional investors have started to accumulate more and more Bitcoin. And this shows us that the market is in a very healthy place, is in a very good place moving forward. And so anyone who might be on the fence, maybe, a little worried, I think this shows you that the big money players, $50 million accounts and higher, they are not worried. They are continuing to add more to their positions. One particular Bitcoin whale that we talk about quite a bit on the channel is with MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy is the publicly traded company that owns the most Bitcoin. They own over 100,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They have 108,900, and recently they just came out and said that they added 3,900 more. So anyone who might be on the fence, might be worried, just look to the big players. Obviously, you can't just follow them exactly. Not smart. It's always smart to do your own research, but it's good to see what are people with the most money doing. Are they worried about the market? Are they buying more? And right now, every single dip we get, whale accounts are buying more, whether we're talking about Bitcoin, whether we're talking about Ethereum, whether we're talking about Solana, Cardano, doesn't matter. They're adding more to their positions, and I've been doing the same thing. I haven't bought any in the last couple of days. You guys have seen that on our Patreon group if you're a member there. But last week I did add more Cardano, a bit more Ethereum, and a couple of other smaller altcoins that I told you guys about in the group. But that is what I've been doing. We're seeing the same strategy with institutional investors. Next up is I want to go over what is going on specifically with regards to a couple of crypto exchanges and what is going on with mass adoption across the globe. Because we've talked about recently how PayPal expanded their services into the UK. This is a really big deal because now people in the UK can use PayPal to buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and a couple of other coins. In addition to this, we have also seen that a number of other companies, let's say like Coinbase, has gotten approval to do business in Germany. They got it signed off in Germany. Now they can do business in the EU. So now we're seeing that this global adoption is growing rapidly. We're starting to see more companies expand, and you may be thinking like, why does this matter? I don't care about this at all. But the good thing is the easier it becomes, the more options people have. The more options people have to invest in crypto, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes, the more likely it is that people are going to actually put money into crypto. Because some people, if they have to put in their social security number, they have to put in a picture of their passport or driver's license to verify their identity, they're not going to do it. A lot of people aren't going to do it because it scares them. So with companies coming out and starting to expand overseas, giving them more options, it just makes it that much more likely that people are going to buy crypto. And what we're seeing is that Kraken, one of the largest crypto exchanges in terms of volume, they are seeking currently an EU license as they're trying to expand into Europe. And right now, if we look at crypto exchanges in terms of transaction volume, daily transaction volume, right now, Kraken has a daily transaction volume of right around $1.3 billion, according to CoinGecko, and Kraken ranks as the world's 5th largest cryptocurrency exchange. So this is very exciting. You may say, well, there's already other options for people in Europe, but the thing is it never hurts to give consumers more options and make it easier for them to invest. A lot of people probably aren't going to use Kraken. They might already use Coinbase, or they might use some other platform like Binance. But options, when you're talking about crypto and making it easy to invest, is great, because some platforms have different cryptos than other. Like, let's say you want to buy some really small altcoins. Some platforms like Coinbase don't have those. So more crypto exchanges that are offering trading in your area, the better. Like, for example, Robinhood, like Tony's talking about in the chat, how Robinhood A little bit about Robinhood. Robinhood needs to add more cryptocurrencies to their exchange. They're going to lose if they don't. If they simply just keep their couple of cryptocurrencies, it's going to make it so they have a significant disadvantage. And if they don't add wallet, like a crypto wallet feature where people can withdraw and send money from Robinhood, that's going to continue to hurt them as well. So we just need to see that all crypto exchanges, whether we're talking about Robinhood, Kraken, Coinbase, Binance, become more accessible, more user-friendly, and easier for everyone in the crypto space. And this is going to lead to more money coming in. Next up is what is going on specifically with regards to regulators in the US. And yesterday we spoke specifically about what was going on with the infrastructure bill and how it's looking like it's going to pass with the broad wording for brokers. And that means that companies that are like Bitcoin miners and software developers may have to report information to the government that they can't necessarily track. Not great for crypto. But the positive news that just came out is that the US Treasury, there were some rumors about this and we spoke about it, but they have confirmed that requirements in the infrastructure bill, crypto requirements in the infrastructure bill, won't target non-brokers even without being amended. And this is very important. We've seen a number of senators, like let's say, for example, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz had come out and said that the infrastructure bill had a portion in it that was designed to obliterate crypto. It was a tragic mistake. And Pat Toomey, another senator, said it was simply unworkable, unacceptable. So ultimately, what we're seeing is that even though some senators don't agree with it, a number of people in the House of Representatives don't agree with it, ultimately, even if it does get passed with the broad wording for brokers, the U.S. Treasury says that they're not going to enforce these rules upon Bitcoin miners, upon Bitcoin software developers. They're really only going to enforce these rules on like decentralized exchanges. They're not going to focus on companies that really don't have the infrastructure, don't have the systems in place, and don't have the capabilities to track the information, because that would just be stupid. To tell a company that's a Bitcoin miner or software developer that they need to track information that they physically can't track, that is really stupid, because it's just going to push these companies outside of the US, and it would not be a good idea for the US government and long term in terms of tax revenue, that they could generate from it. It's just not a good idea. So it's good to see that even if we don't see amendments made to this crypto provision, that ultimately we are still going to see it, and even if they don't amend the crypto tax provision in the bill, ultimately they're not going to enforce these laws on crypto software developers, crypto miners, and anyone who doesn't have really the necessary capabilities to track all of this information. Moving on, I want to go over something specifically what is going on with institutional investors, because over the last couple of days, like we said, we've seen a lot come out from institutional investors in terms of pouring more money into crypto. But now we just had a new report that came out from a pretty big bank. We've seen a lot come out from BlackRock and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and even Morgan Stanley. But now we're seeing another report come out from Citigroup. And Citigroup came out and officially said that they have filed to trade Bitcoin futures. They said that they have been seeing an increase, a dramatic increase in interest from their clients and all their customers across the board for crypto-related products. According to a specific quote, they said earlier on Tuesday in an interview with Bloomberg, they said, "Our clients are increasingly interested in the crypto space, and we are monitoring these developments. Given the many questions around regulatory frameworks, they are being very thoughtful about their approach, and they're not going to rush." They've talked about getting into crypto for a while. Back in, I believe, in May, there were reports that Citigroup was contemplating launching crypto services after they had seen a very rapid accumulation of interest in Bitcoin. That was in May. At the beginning of May. At the end of May, the CEO, Jane Foster, CEO of Citigroup, came out and said that they were taking a measured approach to cryptocurrency. They sought to understand the space before they jumped in, before they offered new products. But now they officially came out and said earlier in the day that they are presently considering products such as futures for some of their institutional clients, as these operate under strong regulatory frameworks. And this is really big deal. We're seeing all across the board, whether we're talking about Citigroup, whether we're talking about reports from Coinalysis, whether we're talking about LMAX Digital, which is an institutional cryptocurrency exchange, all of these companies are saying the big money players want to get in. They want to get in. Like Citigroup says, they're looking to make some new products for their institutional clients. We're seeing across the board that no matter what company we're talking to, they're experiencing massive FOMO right now, and they don't want to miss out on an opportunity to get into crypto now. Even though they might have missed out on some of the biggest gains, let's say with Bitcoin, they don't want to miss out on this massive opportunity we're seeing with a number of cryptos out there, like Solana, like Cardano, like all cryptos. Basically right now, the space is just in the beginning, and we're seeing all across the board, institutional investors are asking the banks they work with, almost begging them to offer more products so they could have more exposure to the space. Speaking of institutions, we also saw that Morgan Stanley, according to a new SEC filing, we have seen that Morgan Stanley holds over 1 million shares in Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And this is pretty interesting because Morgan Stanley, a couple months ago, they'd come out with a report saying that one of their funds that was overseas had invested a significant amount of money into Bitcoin through Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. But now we see, according to a recent SEC filing, that over 30 Morgan Stanley funds actually hold a large amount of GBTC shares. And this is Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And the one with the most amount of money is the it's called Morgan's Insight Fund with over 928,051 shares worth about $36 million or about 700 Bitcoin. So it's not a huge amount when we're comparing that to, let's say, MicroStrategy, which owns over 100,000 Bitcoin, but it shows us that even banks that have been established for decades, they're getting into crypto. And again, institutional interest is there, it's growing, and we have not seen any pullbacks in terms of demand from institutional investors. They're not really selling. Most institutional investors who get involved typically see it as a long-term investment. They're getting in, and most of what they're buying is kept. According to Coinalysis, they said 75% of what all institutional investors buy is kept for the long term, and they have no plans on selling it anytime soon. And this is great news for us because the more money that they're investing, the more money that they just keep in Bitcoin on the sidelines in cold storage, the less supply basically there is in Bitcoin, and the higher the price can continue to go as more players get involved. So we'll continue to see what happens here, but this, we got to give credit here because the person who first came out and revealed this goes by Macro Scope on Twitter, and he revealed this. That is where I got the information from. He had said, in SEC filings, Morgan Stanley just reported owning a large amount of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Largest was in Morgan's Insight Fund. And now for a very interesting story with regards to Facebook. Facebook has been working in the crypto space for years. They've experienced a lot of issues, a lot of pushback from the government, but now it seems like they are taking the next big step, and this is very exciting. So the first thing I want to go over with Facebook is with regards to NFTs. Everyone is saying NFTs don't matter. I don't care about NFTs. And I think it's because just people don't really understand them yet. So a lot of people in the comments just stay away from them. But this is one of the biggest opportunities that we will see in crypto, bigger than most altcoins you pick. Like, while NFTs are riskier, NFTs have the potential to just smoke any altcoins in terms of percent return. We are seeing people invest $50 or like $500 into, let's say, one project called Bored Apes Yacht Club. It's an NFT project. They're investing, they're buying this JPEG, this PNG, this little picture, and then all of a sudden, a month and a half later, their $500 is worth $55,000. So anyone who's saying, I don't want to get into it, don't just say that without understanding the space. At least do your research, look into the projects, see the money that's being made, see the players that are getting involved, and then make your decision, because I don't want you guys to miss out on a huge opportunity like this. So first thing is, we saw the other day that Visa came out and said that they purchased CryptoPunk 7,610 worth. They spent 49.5 Ethereum on it. And I'll show you guys a picture of that right here. Okay, let's pull that up. Here we go. So they purchased an NFT Visa. They announced this on August 23rd. They said that they officially got into the NFT space. They added it to their collection with the first ever paper credit cards, the ZipZap machine, and they said now they got this NFT right here, just this little JPEG. They spent $165,000 on it. Now we're seeing more companies come out and say that they are getting into the space as well. Facebook said that they are definitely looking at NFTs, and their executive, David Marcus, head of Facebook Financial, co-creator of Facebook-initiated cryptocurrency Diem, he came out and said today, on August 25th, that they are definitely looking at multiple ways to get involved with the NFT industry, not just buying and being a collector, but they're looking at a way to integrate this directly into their platforms. And he came out and said in the interview with Bloomberg TV that Facebook is finding itself in a really good position to offer NFTs, whether it's with people's posts, giving them a button where they can click a button and transfer that to and make that create an NFT and automatically list it, whether it's about integrating Facebook's company, crypto wallet, which they recently established called Novi. They said Novi is a crypto wallet that they created, which is ready to launch. And they said after a couple of years of development, it's ready to go, and they could integrate that directly with NFTs. There are so many ways with the over 1 billion people who use Facebook to get into NFTs that they want to be much more than just a creator. They want to get heavily involved in the space. So definitely keep an eye out on what is going on with NFTs, because projects are popping off. They are doing extremely well, and you definitely don't want to miss out on the opportunities. Yes, Bored Apes Yacht Clubs are already any NFT in that space is already really expensive. And if we're talking about CryptoPunks, they're very expensive, but there's always going to be a next CryptoPunk. There always is going to be a next Bitcoin. Just make sure to take advantage of the opportunity, look into the space, and let me know in the comments, and let me know by messaging me on Instagram what projects you're looking into right now, because you don't want to miss out on the next 100x investment. If you already look 1 month ago to think about that people put $100 or people put $500 into an NFT, now it's worth $55,000. You think it's over, you feel like maybe you're missing out, but you're not. Everything's just getting started. You just need to make sure you're keeping your eyes open. You take advantage of the next opportunities. So, next thing I want to go over is what is going on with a couple of other altcoins. Let's go over what is going on with Ethereum, and then we're still going to go over what couple of questions we had earlier in the chat, especially from Brandon Payne from earlier. He gave us, super chat, so we'll definitely go over that. But first of all, what is going on with Ethereum? I want to take a look at what has been going on with Ethereum EIP 1559 in terms of what is going on continuing with how much Ethereum has been burned. So right now, in terms of how much Ethereum has been burned, we see that it is well over 80,000. I'm trying to pull it up right here for you guys. But we're seeing currently that well over 80,000 Ethereum have been burned in just about 3 weeks. Here we go. There. So it's in the last 3 weeks, just about 3 weeks from when it was first launched, we are seeing that now well over 80,000, just about 100,000 Ethereum has been burned since the London hard fork was rolled out. And this is showing us and continuing to prove the fact that Ethereum's London hard fork went exactly according to plan. It is doing exactly what it is designed, and is making Ethereum more of a deflationary asset, meaning that sometimes there are moments when more Ethereum is being burned, these coins are taken out of the active supply than what is actually being added by Ethereum miners. And that makes it a deflationary asset when there's more Ethereum coins being taken out than coming in. So that is a very important thing. Right now, we're seeing it closely approaching 100,000 Ethereum. And when you do the math on it, we're just about at $300 million. which have been taken out of the total supply of Ethereum, which is great news for anyone who's invested in Ethereum because it's going to attract more institutional investors. It's going to attract a lot of big money players. And it also is a sign that what has gone on with EIP 1559 was a success, and it is continuing to do exactly as it was designed. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about what is going on with Cardano. If you guys like Cardano, if you own it, let me know by liking the video. Let's see if we get this video up to 500 likes, and let me know in the chat if you have sold any Cardano ADA yet. So right now, what is going on with Cardano? As we have seen a couple of big announcements come out over the last couple of days. I did a video on it earlier, but I want to talk about something quickly that we haven't spoken too much about. So anyways, let's take a look at this. Cardano recently just launches in Japan. Over the last 24 hours, Cardano officially launches in Japan. It overcame a number of huge regulatory hurdles to finally launch on the platform BitPoint in Japan. This has been after Cardano has seen a major rally, massive rally from about $1 per coin in third week of July to just about $3 per coin the other day. And people were talking about this in the comments and so many videos saying, Cardano being listed on BitPoint in Japan was going to be huge. It was going to be the next major catalyst for Cardano. It was going to help push it to $5 per coin. And unfortunately, that has not yet happened, but I don't see it as being the big turning point. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in tomorrow's video. We're going to go into it a little bit deeper, but this is just one small step in the road for Cardano. Cardano has much bigger plans than just being listed on an exchange in Japan. While that is important, Cardano's big plans, which I have personally been keeping an eye out on and which I think are way more important than this, is what is going on with the Alonzo upgrade being rolled out on September 12th, 2021. What is going on with talks with Ethiopia, potentially being able to implement a national ID system? What is going on with El Salvador? Because there has been talks between Cardano and El Salvador. Those are the things that I am particularly looking at, because all of those things combined are going to allow for tens of millions, hundreds of millions of more people having access to Cardano. With Alonzo Upgrade, it's going to allow for hundreds of DeFi applications to be built on the platform. And all of those things, in my mind, are much more important than what is going on with Japan. We'll go over this more in tomorrow's video. Some of the reasons why they had challenges with getting into Japan, but it is good news. It just means that more people can invest. More people in other countries easily have access to it, and this goes back to what we spoke about earlier with regards to crypto exchanges expanding overseas. The more crypto exchanges are available in a certain area, the more coins that people could easily trade. The more coins that, say, like Robinhood lists or Coinbase lists, the easier it is for people to get into crypto. Just think about it. More exchanges means more options for consumers. More coins on an exchange means, again, more options for consumers. And ultimately, that is going to continue to help to propel the market. Thanks, Real Age Spades. Two things you want to know are thoughts on an NFT project called ADA Dolls and two altcoins called ACH, Alchemy Pay, and AM. So I've never heard of ADA Dolls. Never heard of it. I'll definitely look into it. Personally, I think it would probably do well, just because when we see there's a lot of hype around a certain project, like this could be like a short-term thing, but it would probably be very, very risky, because with NFTs, they are very risky. You got to treat them as collectibles. So you just have to buy what you like, and you can't just be in it to make money because they are collectibles. It's like sometimes people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a piece of art that you might only pay $100 for. So I'll look into ADA Dolls. I think it could do well in the short term just because there's been so much hype around ADA. But I'll make sure to take a look into that and let you know what I think. With regards to ACH, I don't know much about it, but AMP is a crypto. I have an entire video on which I'll link that down below if you want to check it out. And then what is going on with regards to Brandon Payne? He said, talk about what was going on with Ethereum. We talked about that as well. Next up, if you guys have any more questions, make sure to throw them in the chat. But got a couple more stories I do want to go over. I want to just make sure I got everything in the chat. In the meantime, looks pretty good. But anyways, a couple more stories I do want to go over. First is going to be what is going on. Where is it? First is what is going on with regards to, where is it? Here we go. UK regulators just came out and said that crypto exchange Binance has complied with its June requirements. And this is a big deal because Binance has faced a lot of backlash in countries all around the world. Where we're talking about Canada. They were banned in Canada. They were banned in a number of countries in Asia. They had multiple issues with the UK. But now in a recent report, UK financial regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, announced that Binance has complied with requirements that they imposed on the company back in June. And they said that while Binance is allowed to provide some investment services, it's not yet authorized to provide services related to crypto assets in the UK. So we'll continue to see how this progresses and what happens with Binance. Binance is a major crypto exchange, but it has been experiencing a lot of issues recently. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like me personally, I want there to be as many exchanges as possible, make it as easy as possible for people to own crypto, because that's going to be continuing to help drive the market and grow the market. But we'll see what happens there. And that's pretty much all we got for today's episode. Let's take a look at what is going on in the chat. I got a couple of big stories planned for tomorrow, and I am going to be traveling to New York City, so we might do a video in the airport. We'll see where we get some videos in, but we'll see what happens. Real Ace Spades, thank you. Technically fundamental AMP collateralizes instant payments. Yes, we did a video on AMP as soon as it was put on Coinbase. I did talk about it quite a bit. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat, but I appreciate all you guys. Let's take a look. Someone says Safe Moon. What is up? Ram Nepal. Okay, Brandon Payne says, what about ETC? Me personally, Ethereum Classic, I don't own any. I've never owned Ethereum Classic. So personally, I couldn't be able to give enough of a deep dive into it because I stick with what I know. I invest in like 6 or 7 cryptos. My big investments are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Polygon, EOS, Polkadot, and I own some Dogecoin, like I said. But those are my big investments. And other than those, I am, like, most of my projects I invest in are decentralized finance applications, very similar use cases, whether we're talking about Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, all very similar. Those are the ones that I pick. So I don't want to tell you about Ethereum Classic because I simply don't have a deep understanding of it because I don't invest in it. But I'll definitely look into it, and I'll message you back, Brandon. Just message me on Instagram so I have your @ and I could easily get back to you. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. Thank you, Real Ace Spades. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow from New York City, new place. We're probably gonna have a pretty cool background at some point, and I'm gonna be there for a couple of days. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.